Welcome to my beam build or rebuild video. This is a beam I got on eBay a few years ago. I believe it's 9-inch narrowed, and it was purchased for the LD10 specifically, hence the quite severe narrowing. Originally it came with mechanical adjusters in the middle, then when it went down south for further restoration, we planned on a central airbag system so we could adjust the height on the fly. Unfortunately, all that kit's now burnt and dead. So the bags, the pump, everything was destroyed in the fire. Even the springs inside the tubes were destroyed. The nylon bushers, the bearings, the lot, it's all gone. I've still got the spindles which look okay, but I'm using them for mocking up, but I daren't use them after they've been in the fire. I just don't know how safe that is to do. So I'll be looking for some more spindles to replace them as well. So I'm going to continue to strip the beam down to its bare bones, and then I'm going to do my best to rebuild it again. I found the springs that were cut down for this beam. Unfortunately these were involved in the fire, so I suspect they're not going to be very springy anymore, so they're kind of dead springs now. But I can use them as a template for length, cut some others I've got down and re-drill the ends all being well, so I can get a new set made up hopefully relatively quickly using those as as a template. While I was searching through my part stash, I found a bag of needle roller bearings. However, I'm probably still going to stick to the urethane option because I'm a little bit wary about using old bearings, especially when I don't remember what they came from. And the nylon inserts are still 40 quid anyway, so for an extra tenner I think I'll just go with the relatively easy urethane option, and I'm kind of curious to see how they work as well. I found the welding adjusters. I'm missing a couple of the big bolts and stuff, one or two little pieces off it, so I'm probably going to have to order one to get all the missing bits together, unless they turn up in the garage in the next day or two. But I'm pretty happy about that. Found some old trailing arms in a big old parts bin. They need a damn good clean because they're a bit crusty. I'll have the ball joints pressed out and get some long travel ones pressed back in again. The trailing arms seem to have cleaned up quite well. I think they've seen quite a hard life. They were really heavily pitted on the arms from UK weather for a lot of years. To clean them up, I just used a flappy paddle, what they call it, to clean the arms, and then I used the wide brush on the arm grinder for bearing faces because I didn't want to damage that at all. Little experiment with the ultrasonic cleaner. They're not too bad, but I want to make sure all the underseal and any grease is off there before I paint them. But I've not got any degreasing stuff for the cleaner. Dishwasher tablets. I took 3 in, see what happens. I've come across a little bit of a problem today. So these are the ones that came out of the Lanchester beam. Outside diameter they measure 53mm and 47mm. These I think are genuine VW, or ones that came from Beefcake many years ago, and they measure 50 and 46mm outside diameter. So we've got a 3 and a 1mm difference outside diameter. So I'm not sure why the beam I've got has oversized bearings in it. Obviously it must be an easy option for building, I don't know. I think I can get these from a place in Sheffield that does bearings. However, if I do that, I've got to pay the price. So they're not far off the price of the VW ones, and also then I have to get the inner bushers, so it works out quite pricey. I don't think, because of the oversized bearings used, that the beam will be suitable for the urethane insert. The trailing arms have come up really well, very impressed with them. These have got to go back in for one last blast. Okay, the beam's been sat on my bench now for quite a long time, since the first parts of it. So for you it would probably been about a minute ago, but for me it's been about 2 months. So in the last bit we got to the stage where I needed to get the ball joints pressed out. So I'm actually going tomorrow to see the Volkswagen guys in Sheffield. So I bumped into them guys about 26 years ago as a spotty teenager when I first got my Beetle, and they used to run a club called Aircooled Outlaws, I think it was, in Sheffield. But say they're still building cool and crazy cars now. So I'm going to go and see them tomorrow. They agreed to press that out for me and press the new ones in. Right, we're at Volkswagen Garage in Sheffield. So we just parked outside, and this is his flatbed. Absolutely awesome little beast, I love it. Got a really good rooftop on it as well. A beam extender. It's got a red 9 on the front. Let's go inside and see what we're doing with those ball joints. She blows.
Something's gone anyway.
So what you're lining up to get them?
What you have to line up is them notches.
Yeah.
They're like basically square to that.
Okay.
They face line in direction of travel. So, because when you tip it over, your ball joint slot operates in that movement.
Yep.
All sorts of that's why it's unsurvivable. New Zealand, the Prime Minister there says she's relieved the gunman who's killed 51 people at 2 mosques last year.
Yeah, leave it like that. Then take that. Take middle one out.
Was described as inhuman by the judge. Back here, police are urgently trying to find 3 young boys who can take
Yeah, put your top on top of that, and then you wiggle that one down between 2 and it's located. With a bit of luck.
Took them from the garden earlier. The boys haven't been seen since, and the UK's courts are on
Official Volkswagen style.
big rise in the number of assaults on emergency workers in England and Wales.
Just stand back and wait for screaming.
Compared with a year ago. The Liberal Democrats have a new leader, Sir Ed Davey, beat fellow MP Leila Moran to the job. Our politics editor is Daniel Ross.
Beaten for a job, it's more commiseration.
3.5 million votes in last year's election. Popularity is
Hey,
There you go. Stop the whole thing sliding.
dickhead's drilled it in the wrong place.
You got it?
Yeah, looks like that.
Alright. That's right, right there.
There you go, guys. Stupid Love Radio 1. So maybe we hear in a couple of minutes from entertainment news. Dave and Fredo on the way. A bit of seagulls and famous subscribers in next.
What's that then?
That's your oh crap, I forgot what to call it now. What's here?
Yeah, just setting the camera nut, so you got a little noggin in the front, little notch in the front.
That little knot in front there, that flat face should be 90 degrees to that one. So when you rotate that, it moves you know what I mean, it moves your top in and out.
It's basically travelling forwards, but at 90 degrees to the
Yeah,
spindle
90
place.
degrees, that 90 degrees to that, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. I just want to say a massive thank you to Andy and Steve at the Balljoint Garage in Sheffield. And I say Andy spent the best part of a day fighting alongside me to get the beam together. Now I say fight because the plan was to basically do a stage by stage beam build video, but say there's just issues from the start really. Most of those issues have come because it's an aftermarket eBay 9-inch narrow beam, and none of the diameter of the bars and the tubes are what they should be. So I previously mentioned the stock bearings don't fit. I've got these aftermarket ones from City Seals and Bearings in Sheffield, and they help me out big style. So worth a call or a visit if you're local. However, I thought I'd measured for the nylon inserts in the top bar at least. They don't fit. So for whatever reason the diameter inside there is too big, and these are just a rattle fit. So obviously if you put them in there, it's moving around, you put the arm in, you're going to have a wobbly trailing arm. Don't want that. The diameter at the outer edge where the bigger bearing has to fit means that the rubber seal didn't fit either. That was moving around, so that would probably be less detrimental because the arm kind of holds it in place. Even so, you don't want it to have the ability to move around being a seal, so not good. So as an emergency option, I actually took a set of urethane inserts in case that's the route I had to go with it. Luckily I did, because on the top we've now got a set of similar to that urethane inserts, and when we put those in we found it was a snugger fit, and especially with the arm in place. So it felt basically as it should do, which is a good thing I guess. In the bottom, the nylon inserts and the rubber fitted fine, and the aftermarket needle roller bearing fitted fine, so that's all standard stuff kind of as it came out of the factory. So it's a beam with two halves. We've got, say, urethane at the top and standard stuff in the bottom, so hopefully it'll only squeak half the time. One of the other jobs I wanted to do was to get the adjusters back on. So they were removed for fitting an airbag a long time ago, before the fire, but we wanted to put standard adjusters back on. Now you'll probably notice the design is slightly different, as are the parts that came with it. So there was missing parts, and I thought if I buy a new one I can replace the parts, but they're not compatible. So the next problem was that. And obviously if the new ones are different to the old ones, I couldn't use that as a reference point from another car to set the beam to the correct ride height. So now this is going to have to be the last thing that goes back on the beam basically. So we have to build it up completely, get the wheels on there, get it onto the floor pan, and when we get it to the right height on a jack, mark the height this needs to be on the beam, and then they can be welded in the right place. So a bit of a pain in the bum really, I've got to wait that long, but see, it's the only way I can think of doing it accurately, or not having to do it 2 or 3 times. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean it all up. I'm going to give it a good old degrease because it's got 1,000 greasy paws on there, and give it a lick of paint. So I'm probably going to use epoxy mastic 121 because it's like liquid concrete, and I bought it for the floor pan on one of the other cars, and it's really good stuff. So I'll paint it all up, get the steering box on, get the trailer arms measured up, get them on, and then hopefully we can look at fitting it to a chassis and get a rolling chassis. But all those parts will probably be in the next beam video for the rat rod. See you in a bit, guys.